Look, I get it. It's incredibly expensive to make movies, with a lot of indie directors focusing on substance instead of overusing special effects, blood or gore. However, some movies lack the budget and the quality, and the result is usually something so bad it's good, and then it's bad again. Even better, usually these so bad they're bad movies contain monsters that are oh so ridiculous. And that is exactly what I want to discuss. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 strangest horror movie monsters. Let's jump in. Coming in at 5, The Laundry Machine from The Mangler. Directed by the legendary filmmaker Tobe Hooper, who blessed us with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Mangler was released back in 1995 and follows a series of gruesome accidents that lead an officer to believe that a laundry machine is possessed by a bloodthirsty demon. Yeah. Now, from the off, this film was destined for greatness, considering it's based upon the Stephen King short story of the same name, which appeared in his inaugural short story collection called Night Shift. Unfortunately, The Mangler fell fast and it fell hard, which hurts to say considering who was involved in the movie, but this film is truly terrible. I mean, a giant industrial laundry machine is possessed by a demon and then eats people. Ridiculous, right? It also stars Robert Englund, who plays a character who literally feeds people to the laundry machine in order to serve the devil. Why would Freddy Krueger stoop so low? I have no idea. But honestly, this movie is ridiculous, perhaps the most ridiculous on our list, and that's saying a lot, especially considering what's coming up next. Coming in at 4, The Stuff from The Stuff. Oh, The Stuff. I almost forgot this movie even existed, but God bless Top 5 for bringing it back to me in the best way possible. The Stuff, directed by Larry Cohen, follows several railroad workers who discover a yogurt-like white substance bubbling out of the ground. Now, of course, folks begin to try this substance, which is absolutely delicious and quite possibly lethal. I mean, it is lethal. That's literally the entire plot of the film. Now, what we quickly discover is that the stuff is actually a living parasitic sentient organism that gradually takes over the brain of the people who ingest it. It then mutates those people into zombie-like creatures before consuming them from the inside and leaving them as a literal empty shell. Fun times. Now, The Stuff is part satire, part goofy horror, which is something you should definitely know before going into this film, because it is utterly bizarre and unlike any other film on our list. Scratch that, unlike any other film I've ever seen in my life. It's goofy, but that's what makes it so great, and The Stuff might just be the weirdest movie monster to ever grace our screens. Coming in at 3, Belial from Basketcase. This 1982 horror is a top 5 favourite, and one I've mentioned a handful of times on this channel, specifically when discussing Belial, a character we'll get to in a few short moments. Basketcase was directed by Frank Henenlotter and follows Dwayne Bradley, who arrives in New York City with a locked wicker basket. What's inside? Well, it just happens to be his deformed conjoined twin Belial, with the two having been surgically separated at an early age against their will, with Belial deeply resenting being cut from his normal-looking brother. The twins then seek revenge against the doctors who separated them. Now, it is Belial's appearance that is truly haunting. I mean, he definitely isn't a supermodel, not even close. And not only that, but his homicidal tendencies don't make him a great dude either. Now, although the movie is a classic 80s horror, meaning it's campy and ridiculously funny, this film is actually genuinely scary in some places, and quite simply, Belial is the scariest monster we have on our list, when it comes to looks, that is. Coming in at 2, The Deathbed from Deathbed, The Bed That Eats, 1977. Now, our other numbers were insane, but this is by far one of the strangest horror movie monsters I've ever encountered in cinema. And it comes to us from Deathbed, The Bed That Eats. Released back in 1977 and directed, produced, and written by George Barry, this horror flick follows the story of a demon who fell in love with a woman and conjured up a bed on which to make love to her. So sweet. The woman ultimately dies during the act, and in his grief the demon wept tears of blood, which fell on the bed and caused it to come to life. Of course. Now, here's where it gets spooky. While the demon rests, the bed's evil is contained, but once every 10 years the demon will wake, giving the bed power to physically eat human beings. Not only does the bed eat its unsuspecting victims, it literally dissolves them into green foam. Now, if anyone is interested, I will happily detail for you all the bed's breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe even dessert. You want that? Well, you're getting it anyway. For breakfast, the bed eats a young couple that are making love on the bed. Lunch, 3 women who stumble across the home. Dinner, 1 woman who gets snared in the sheets and eaten. And dessert is a death, but the death of the bed itself. Shocker, I know, and a little bit of a spoiler. A big spoiler, actually. Now, I don't want to detail too much more because this film is honestly worth a watch and just might make you have some trust issues with your own bed. And finally, coming in at number 1, Brain Monster from Fiend Without a Face, 1958. Directed by Arthur Crabtree and released all the way back in 1958, Fiend Without a Face is absolutely insane. This horror sci-fi follows invisible atomic monsters who attack a US Armed Forces base as well as the local residents. Where still, these atomic monsters feed on atomic power and then steal human brains and spinal columns to use as bodies in order to multiply. If you hadn't guessed it already, the screenplay written by Herbert J. Leder was based upon Amelia Reynolds Long's 1930 short story The Thought Monster, which was originally published in the March 1930 issue of Weird Tales. Now, if you're into classic 50s horror movies, then I highly recommend Fiend Without a Face. Now, although the description may suggest something different, the film does actually take itself seriously, and is a very solid horror movie, for the 50s, that is. Now, what makes this film absolutely terrifying, yet equally nuts, are the brain monsters. Monsters that are quite literally comprised of brains, and the missing spinal cords stolen from their victims. Their spinal cords have become flexible, even sprouting tendrils. Not only that, but these mutations have also allowed the brain spine monster to move incredibly quick, even leap distances, with each creature having also developed a pair of small eyes at the ends of extended eye stalks. Absolutely horrifying. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with that list? Were there any movie monsters that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, see you later.